It is December 26th, 1900. And the steamer SS Archtor is making its way through the notoriously treacherous waters of the Outer Hebrides off the northwest coast of Scotland. It is here in this desolate region known as the Flannan Isles or Eilean Mòr that the Archtor will find its final resting place. Or rather, will find the final resting place of its passengers. For it was on this very day that the men aboard the Archtor, 3 lighthouse keepers, were taken from their posts on the Flannan Isles and plunged into the frigid Atlantic, or perhaps they were, for if you are listening to the official inquiry report, you will hear that the 3 men were washed away by a freak rogue. Wave wall securing equipment on the western landing of the Lighthouse. And if you are listening to the alternative theory, you will hear that one of the men likely killed the other 2 in a fight and then was swept away himself by a rogue wave. But what if neither of those theories is correct? What if there is another explanation for the disappearance of James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur? Or perhaps no explanation at all? Welcome once again, friends, to our channel, where the veil between the worlds is at its thinnest, and the mysteries of history come alive. Now, before we begin, we would like to thank you all for your support and kind words regarding our platform. Your comments mean the world to us, and we're so glad that you've enjoyed our videos! Now let's turn our attention back to the lighthouse. As I said, the ship approaches on December, but it is not until December that the relief ship, the Hesperus, arrives. And it is here that we meet our 3 keepers. We know that they are experienced and dependable men doing an essential job in one of the most inhospitable environments imaginable. Indeed, even the captain of the relief ship remarks that he cannot imagine a more god-forsaken spot. So when the Hesperus arrives and the captain sees that the lighthouse lamp is unlit, he assumes that the men must have seen the steamer coming and gone off duty for the evening. But as the night wears on, the captain becomes increasingly anxious. He keeps to his original schedule, expecting to see the green signal flag of the lighthouse at 8:30 p.m. But the flag does not appear. By 9 o'clock, the captain is frantic, fearing that something terrible must have happened. And so he goes below deck to get his boat and rows to the island. There he finds the lighthouse deserted, the gate to the compound open, and the meal set out on the table, as though the man had just stepped away for a moment. There's also an overcoat hanging on the wall and a stopped clock on the mantelpiece, suggesting that the man left abruptly and in a hurry. But despite this, there is no sign of a struggle and nothing to suggest that anything violent or sinister had occurred on the island. This much is fact, taken directly from the official log of the Hesperus. But after this point, things become murky. You see, there are 2 theories as to what happened next. The official theory and the alternative theory. The official inquiry, as well as subsequent investigations, have all but ignored the latter, focusing instead on the former. According to the official theory, a large wave struck the island just as the men were about to light the lamp, washing them away from their posts and into the raging sea where they drowned. The alternative theory suggests that one of the men likely killed the other 2 in a fit of rage or during a struggle, and then the survivor was washed away by a rogue wave. However, the investigators ultimately rejected this theory, citing the exemplary records of all 3 men, not to mention the utter lack of evidence pointing to foul play, and so the case was closed, the verdict being that all 3 men had died as a result of the elements. But while this may be the official story, there are others who disagree, believing that there is more to the tale than meets the eye. Indeed, many believe that the true story of the Flannan Isles is far more sinister than even the most lurid imaginations could have conjured up. Some say that the men were the victims of a vicious fight, perhaps over some hidden treasure buried on the island. Others claim that they were taken by mythical beasts that dwell beneath the waves. Or worse still, that they were the victims of an ancient curse placed upon the island by a vengeful witch. But these stories, while they make for good folklore, are not borne out by evidence. And so we are left with the mystery, a mystery that has endured to this very day. So what really happened to the men of the Flannan Isles? The truth is, we may never know. The ocean is a fickle mistress, and sometimes she keeps her secrets close. In the end, we can only speculate. What we can say for certain is that James Ducat Thomas Marshall and Donald MacArthur died while in the service of their country, serving as beacons of light in some of the darkest days that Britain has ever known. And it is perhaps fitting that their story has endured not just as a mystery, but as a legend, inspiring poems, songs, and even films. And if you want to learn more about this intriguing case and others like it, then be sure to check out our channel. We'd love to have you join our growing community of history enthusiasts. Thanks for watching!